All right, my name is Nam again. Well, this is the continuation, part 2 of the video, Who is God? Well, for those of you who watched the other one, you can remember that I talked about how the word God came from Goth, and Goth was put there because the person who translated the Bible, the bishop Ulfila or Wulfila, who lived during the 4th century CE, the Common Era, or AD, some people would call it, when he became a Arian bishop, he translated the Bible, although a lot of scholars, based on the words he was using, they said it doesn't really look like he did it, but he probably was the one who supervised a bunch of people to do this translation. But they still put it under his name as the translator, which doesn't really matter. But he used the word every time he saw the word in the Hebrew, because he translated from the Hebrew and the Greek. So every time he saw in the Tanakh, the so-called Old Testament, he saw the word Yahweh or Yahweh or Yahweh, the name of the Tanakh's God, the Hebrew Israelites' God. He put the word God, originally Goth, because he was Gothic himself. He came from the Gothic people, the Germanic tribes people. So he translated the Bible for his people, the Gothic people, and then he never swapped his God or their God name. He kept his God's name in there, which is Goth. And then now all the modern translations we have, they all follow the same motif, where they keep the word God, to the point where now in our time, if we ask anybody, what does the word God mean to you? In their mind, they already think it means a creator, a superhuman, a spirit with power to control whatever nature's forces, when in actuality it doesn't mean that. It's just that word is the Gothic people, just like you have Israelites. Their name came from a eponymous ancestor named Israel. So the Gothic people, their national name came from a guy named Goth, who was also known as Guden, Godin, Woden, Odin. But if you watch the other video, you should already be familiar with what I'm talking about. So the same way these people, when they had their own God, and then some prophet trying to teach them a new religion, especially it was a prophet of their own from the same nation as them, the word God, whatever they were following, they were allowed to still keep it. And the way he kept it is by leaving it and put it in the translation. And they weren't the only people that did that in history. Even when you read about the Muslims, it tells you when the Jews, when Muhammad actually, around 700 AD, around that time, in the 700s, when he went to teach them Islam, they accepted everything except the part where it says the new God's name. They kept their old God name, which was Allah. So that Muhammad couldn't take it out of them. Couldn't tell them, look, well, the new thing I'm telling you, the new religion is really Christianity. The dude's name that we call Isa in Islam, his father's name, is really Jehovah. Although Christianity really is a totally different religion from the Tanakh's religion. It's not the same God. The Tanakh has one so-called God, while Christianity has three different things that people worship. You have a ghost, you have Jesus, and you have his father. So that's three gods right there. And then they started worshiping saints. That's not in the Tanakh. There's nowhere in the Bible, in the Mosai's laws, whether in Deuteronomy or Leviticus or Exodus, wherever you see laws, where the Mosai say to worship any dead person. So Christianity is really the same religion as the religion that the Gothic people believe in. It is exactly the same religion. And other people in history that did the exact same thing, where they were being forced by another group of people to worship a new God, but they accepted everything except the God part. Voodoo. In voodoo days and in slavery days, the so-called slaves in slavery days, they understood Christianity that they were being forced to follow. They understood that it was really voodoo. That's why till this day, you go to a voodoo temple, you still see those voodoo gods. Well, the pictures you'll see, they'll be the so-called saints. You'll see Mary. Underneath the picture of Mary, they'll put a voodoo god name. They'll put Azali. You'll see Joseph, whoever, then they'll put a voodoo name. They'll put Ogun, whatever. So that's another time in history where these people, just like the Gothic people, they still kept their gods' names, but they understood their God's name as the new God they were being taught. Although in the case of the Gothic people, they were all right, because Christianity, the Jesus story and all the New Testament they were being pushed. I guess that Bishop Ulfila, he knew better. He had a little bit of knowledge to know, a little bit of intelligence to know that this is the same religion. So we just have different names for them. So it was easy for him to go back to his people and convince them to make the transition from their religion to Christianity, and still kept Goth. Since that's the dude they worship, but they could see that Christianity was the same BS, so they kept their name, But I'm sure that Bishop guy, he knew that Goth guy had nothing to do with the so-called God of the Old Testament. His name has nothing to do with Goth, and the so-called God of the Old Testament. He never died. He wasn't no eponymous ancestor. So these are the three examples that happened in history. But now, if you there's one thing that they always say out there in the world. Almost every religions, they are quick to say, well, there's only one God. Whatever God you see in Islam or Christianity or Voodoo or Buddhism, Hinduism, Shintoism, Zoroastrianism, whichever one. They always say, well, this is still there's still one God. It's still they all the same God. Partially they're right. Partially they're right because all the heathen religions, if you really search deeply, you'll see that all the heathen religions, they all have the same God. They all have the same gods, not God. They all follow the same thing. They just change the names. For example, if you go all the way back to Sumer, they had their gods, different names, and then you compare them with the Egyptian gods. They are the same. They're the same gods, but different names. So at this point, that's the same religion. Now, if you take the Egyptian religions, you check out those gods and check out their attributes. You compare them with the Persian religions. They're still the same gods, just different names, same attributes. Then if you compare again with the Greek religion, they're still the same gods, but different names. You compare with voodoo. So all the heathen, they all have the same God. They believe in the same concept when it comes to religion. They're all polytheistic. They all believe in a bunch of gods, and all these gods have to do with nature, how these gods control some type of aspect of nature. They so-called anthropomorphized as something on earth. So, for example, you'll see with the Egyptian, you'll see Ra. He's supposed to represent the sun, because the word Ra literally means sun. So the sun got anthropomorphized as that guy, Ra. So now they'll create some type of history for Ra and make him act as if he's the son on earth, just like Jesus. So that's one God. So in my belief, this world only has two so-called gods. The heathen gods, I'll call it just one God, always a bunch of them. So one religion, the heathen religion, they all the same thing. And then you have the religion that Moses taught, which is totally contrary to all the heathen religion. So in Moses' religion, you see there'll be a so-called God who say, look, I'm the only God by myself. I don't have a son next to me. I don't have a wife next to me. It's just me. I'm alone. And I have some laws for you guys to follow. Now, all the heathen gods, it'll be this guy with a bunch of other guys. And then he always has a wife. Always has a wife. Zeus has a bunch of wives. Osiris had Isis. Nimrod or Tammuz had Ishtar. Nimrod, Semiramis. These gods, they always had a wife. Baal had Ishtar. They all. It's the same story. Now, for those who wanna question what I'm saying, like, where'd you get this thing from? Even the Bible will tell you the same thing. In the book of Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, it does tell you from chapter 4 in verse 15 and down. It does try to give you an idea, what I just said, where you have the Tanakh's God now and the heathen God, and that's it. That's all you have in the world. In fact, let me get it. Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, In fact, I'm going to start with verse 15. Going to start with verse 14. Let me see. Well, let me start with 14. And the Most High commended me. Now you see why I don't say God. I say the Most High because when you go into the Hebrew, we wouldn't say God. And like I already said in the first video, and I'm still proving it, the word God has nothing to do with the Most High at all. It's really a dead man that died a long time ago that got deified. And then he was an eponymous ancestor of the Gothic people. And these people were named after him. The Goth, and the word God first, initially, originally was Goth first. So, and the Most High, verse 14 in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, and the Most High commended me at that time to teach you the rules and regulations that you are to live by in the land which you are crossing over the Jordans to possess. Okay, so Moses' religion, you had the Most High and you had his laws. That's it. There was nothing else. It's just there's a so-called God, a ruler, and then he said, "Look, all I want you guys to do is to live according to these laws. And if you follow them, you're going to live right. You're going to live long. And if you don't, you're going to bring all type of curses to yourself, all type of bad stuff to yourself." So that was verse 14. Verse 20, you saw no form on the day the Most High spoke to you at Horeb from out of the fire. Remember that carefully. Guard yourselves so that you don't turn corrupt and make a form, carving a figure that looks male or female, or looks like a prowling animal, or a flying bird, or a slithering snake, or a fish in a stream. And also carefully guard yourselves so that you don't look up into the skies and see the sun, the moon, and stars, all the constellation of the skies, and be seduced into worshiping and serving them. So from where I just started from 15, that was all the heathen god right there. That's the heathen religion. Everything that verse say, that was more like the Most High through Moses is taking jabs at all the heathen god. Say, look, these other heathen, their gods, whatever they worship, they have an image for it. For example, Goth, you go into the history, they had a little statue for him, a little wooden statue for him. All the Egyptian gods, they have some type of image for them. Whether it's Horus, some dude, some green dude, or Cyrus, or they all had image for them. Or all the voodoo gods, they have an image for Ezeli. The Catholics God, the Christian gods, they had Mary, they had Jesus. Even the new Israelites that believe in Jesus, they still come up with their own so-called Jesus. Although they never saw him, they never saw no proof in no book. It's not like they Jesus, that so-called guy, left a statue. But because of they following a heathen religion, they have to put a picture for Jesus, or else they would not be comfortable if they don't do that. So that's the thing with all the heathen religions. They all have gods that they have to put an image for. And Moses telling the Israelites, look, the reason the Most High didn't even show himself to you guys to see, so that you guys wouldn't be doing like these heathen religions. They all do the same thing. All the heathen religion is really one religion. They're all the same. I don't even understand how you have Christians who follow the same thing as the other type of Christian, and they all beefing. They all follow the same garbage. I don't even understand this. Even among Israelites, you see these people on the streets, they're following the same garbage, the same black Jesus, but they have a million beefs among each other. And they just started as a religion. They're probably about like 40, 50 years old. The newest religion, they already have so many different groups beefing with each other, and they following the same garbage. That's the spirit of the heathen religion. But when they read the Bible, they read the Tanakh. How many groups of religions that follow the Most High's laws, the Tanakh, and that were beefing with each other? You don't see any of that. Whoever was beefing with them, or they were beefing with, those were heathen religion. Like Elijah, when Elijah was beefing with a bunch of prophets, they were prophets from Baal, from another religion. Elijah wasn't going to beef with people that were following the same thing as him. So how is it now Christianity, from the time it started with a bunch of them beefing with each other? That's like a crazy religion. Even when they restarted it in our time, in no time you see a bunch of groups already beefing with each other. That's how you know that's a heathen religion. Although they read the Tanakh also to make themselves more confused. They reading the laws, but because they have the spirit of the New Testament in them, they always gonna have beef. Because they have laws in the New Testament that says, look, if this guy doesn't accept it, kick him out. This guy doesn't do this, kick him out. This guy, I don't know, anything this guy does, this woman does, whatever, kick him out, kick him out. Say, well, don't even salute him, don't even say, that's a wicked religion. That's a religion that's only causing divisions. Nobody on earth is more divided than black people. And most black people are either they're in some form of Christianity or one of those heathen religion. The only religion I see, well, even that religion, I was gonna say voodoo because I was born in Haiti. Even in voodoo, though they all do voodoo, you got this group against this one. The minute something happened to this one has a headache, and then say, oh, look, I have a headache because this guy was in voodoo down the block. He did something to cause me to have a headache. Whatever sickness they have, they always blame. I mean, I don't know. The heathen religion only a religion to just cause beef and divisions. Whether it's Christianity, whether it's voodoo, I don't care which one it is. So this verse I just read, these verses from verse 15, and I got all the way from they were straightforward. I don't even need to break them down. How they were, basically Moses was telling the nation of Israel, as people following the Most High, you shouldn't be having no image for the Most High. No picture, you didn't take no picture of him. Nothing for him. Because the minute you have something for him, you're going to bow down to it. You shouldn't have nothing. Now, to show you how when even people that follow the Tanakh, the minute they add heathen religion into what they follow in the Tanakh, even Israelites, they already have a big Star of David. That's a sign that represents some holy sign. That's a heathen sign. And most of them, they know that sign has nothing to do with King David. That was never a holy sign. They know it's a heathen sign, but because they like it so much, they want to hold it as a sign for them because it's that heathen spirit that they have. Even the Israelites that believe in only the so-called Old Testaments, they don't believe in the New Testaments, but they carrying a Jesus sign, that Star of David, that witchcraft sign. So they might as well worship Jesus if you're gonna go around with a Jesus sign, with a sign that goes all the way back to the Sumerians, to Tammuz, and Tammuz is Jesus. So although they say no, we don't believe in Jesus, but you have a big sign, a Jesus sign on your chest. So I don't buy that when I see any of these groups, any of those Israelites, they say, well, it's only the Old Testament, we follow. We don't follow the New Testament. We're not down with Jesus. So why are you wearing the Jesus sign? Why you even have a Jesus sign inside your temple, your well, you don't have a temple, wherever your synagogue, wherever you teach. So let me get to the part. So first it shows if you follow the Most High, this is how you follow the Most High. Now, when you're in the heathen religion, you're gonna be making all type of form of figures for you to follow, to worship. Male, female, that look, some looking like animal, flying birds. That's all the Egyptian gods right there. Slithering snake. That's all the Egyptian, voodoo. They have some snake god. They worship everything. Let me see. Let me get to the main part. And also carefully guard yourself so that you don't look up into the skies and see the sun and moon and stars, all the constellation of the skies, and be seduced into worship them. That's the heathen religion. They worship all these things. So all the heathen religions has to do with astrology, all of them, astrology, and all those so-called hosts of heavens that that the Bible say a host of heaven, and they anthropomorphize them to take human forms, and then they worship those humans that represent either the moon. Now you have a moon goddess, either the sun god, either the stars. Now, the last part of this verse, the Most High set them out for everybody's benefit, everywhere. So now, I'm reading a version named, the translation named The Message. This one is one of the few, probably the only one, that translate this verse properly. That says, those moon, sun, stars, the Most High put them there for us, for our service. If we want to know what month it is, what time it is, that's why the Most High created the sun, the moon, the stars, to serve us. But the heathen religion, all the religions of the world, minus the religion that Moses was teaching, every single last one of them. If there are 10,000 religions on earth, I mean all 10,000. I don't mean 9,999. No, I mean all 10,000. They all into astrology. Every single last one of them. I don't care whether it was the Egyptian religion, the Sumerian religion, the Roman religion, the Zoroastrianism religion, the Christianity, voodoo. They all, Buddhism, Hinduism, Shintoism, all the isms, all of them, they all follow astrology in different forms. In a way where their members don't even know they worshiping the stars, the moons, the sun. They don't even know. Christians don't even know when Jesus was walking on water. That was to let you know he's the Son, God, walk, because only the Son can really supposedly walk on water. Nothing walks on water. Only the sun, when the sun shines in the water, it looks like as if it's walking on water. Nothing can walk on water. Fish cannot walk on water. Birds cannot walk on water. Dirt cannot walk on water. Clothes, nothing walks on water. The only thing that looks like that can walk on water, the sun. That's it. And even when he did the miracle, turn water into wine. Again, that's astrology. It's still the sun shining on trees, on trees, grapes, and turn water coming from heaven, rain coming down, turn water into wine. it's still the sun doing a miracle. Turning, you just take a little bit of seed, one little seed you plant it into the ground, and then the sun does the rest. Does its miracle, well, not that on not on its own, but the way the Most High created for it to do His job. Turn that little seed, one little seed, with water falling on the seed on the soil, and then turn that little seed to a tree. And in those trees, they can turn their fruits into wine, like grapes. So now, like I said, the Message translate this thing the right way. But now, if you read any other translation of that verse 19, they all, well, not all, a lot of them look in a way as if it's saying the sun, the stars, and the moon were put there, and the Most High give the heathen those constellations to worship. In fact, let me go to one. Well, I'm reading now the Tanakh, the English part of one Bible so far. It says, these the Lord, your power, your so-called God, allotted to other peoples everywhere under heaven. So when you read this, it looks like as if it was translated in a way to say the Most High give the sun, the moon, and the stars for people to worship. Which would be crazy, that the Most High would take this, say, okay, you people, don't worship me. Just, since you're a heathen, since you are not Israelites, let me give you this. Let me teach you guys to worship the sun, the moon, and the stars. That's these heathen who did not understand the Tanakh, did not understand the context of the Bible, and translated it to make it fit something they're already doing. So it's almost like if you're a heathen, since you don't, the Most High is not for you, the Most High is for the Israelites. How about, you might as well go worship the sun, the moon, and the stars. Let me go to another version. Okay, this is the New International Version. Let me see. God has and that's the last verse. God has a portion to all the nations under heaven. In fact, let me go back up a little bit. Do not be enticed into bowing down. Do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshiping them and worshiping things. The Most High, your power, has a portion to all the nations in heaven, under heaven. So this one used the word a portion. So it still makes it look like the Most High say, this is your portion, you heathen people, for you to worship. Justifying that the Most High is the reason why they're worshiping the sun, which makes no sense at all. And that was the New International Version. Now, New Living Translation. The Lord your power give them to all the peoples of the earth. So the peoples with S. So this one is written in a way close to the Message, but at the same time they can still put that in there. That the Most High give them the sun, the moon, but it's like saying, well, you Israelites, you worship me because I am for you, to worship, but those other people, I give them other gods to worship. And the gods I give them is the sun, the moon, and the stars. So that shows you how the heathen mentality crept into the Bible. People with heathen mentality, they translate it to fit their spirit, to fit their religion, to fit what they're already doing, which is the heathen religion. Like I said, there are only two religions on earth. Two. There's not three, there's not four. One religion is the one Moses taught. The other religion, which is really a bunch of religions put together as one, and that's the heathen religion. And they all the same. So either you're going to be following astrology, worshiping nature, because even the Egyptian, they make it clear. In our time, we understand that they were worshiping nature because the word nature comes from the word they have for their gods. For God, which is netter. Nature from netter. So when you really analyze the Egyptian religions, that's what they were doing. Worshiping netter, netteru, nettert, nature. Well, there's another, King James Version, 100%, especially the King James Version, 100% translate in that way to see to see that the Most High, created the sun, the moon, the stars, just for the heathen to worship, and that is totally false. That's just a wrong translation. Most High does not want nobody to worship no sun. If you worship the sun, it's because you want to, and not because the Most High said, go and worship the sun, the moon, and stars, because I created for the heathen to worship. Why would the Most High do that? Well, so I made my point with that there are two religions, two gods, the God of the Tanakh and the God of the other gods that the heathen follow, which are a bunch of dead gods, dead people that live at one point, including God, G-O-D. That came from Goth. It came from Guden, Odin, Woden, the same word. There's also Guzan, G-U-Z-A-N. It's still the same word. Gaut, whatever they pronounce it, G-A-U-T. It's still the same word. So when you say, you believe in God, that's what you really, when you even use the word God, period, that's what you ignorantly saying without knowing. You're just saying it. Yeah, you believe in this dead guy. That was an ancestor for the Gothic people.